things she could feasibly probably obtain right now.
I'm gonna do a final roll.
Durali, did you become a god and now the 12 lords have to fucking fight you, bro?
You do not have to fight me. You'll see what I did. I'm gonna roll a performance to see how boisterous I can make my ascension. Out of pure curiosity. I'm rolling performance to see how boisterous my ascension can be. Oh, that's a really high roll.
Oh, God.
It's a 44.
Oh, I forgot about that damn item.
The world shall know.
Right.
I'm not hiding anything.
I didn't catch anything. I have no idea what the fuck you just said.
He's just rolling performance in the background to see what his character can roll.
Okay.
Don't worry.
Don't worry, Maya. Durali's not hiding what she's doing. You'll all notice when she does it.
No, I'm very worried because of Royce's comment. Go into conflict because of conflicting character goals.
Yeah?
And I don't want that to happen because Durali and Sigrun have been pretty chill.
I will tell you, Maya, I do not think what I did will have a single conflict with Sigrun.
Okay, cool. I mean,
to
be fair,
really, now that
I feel like Sigrun's shit is semi-easily predictable. Now, I feel like there's a few parts in there that might not be, but is otherwise very simple.
You may not see Durali again, depending on how this goes.
I mean, to be fair, I assume, unless people make an effort in their backstories, that everyone's kind of fucking off to do their own thing after this. I will find out. I mean, Sigrun's not opposed to company, but she's not the type to go out of her way to, like, recruit people.
Caleb, no rush, man. Go if you're here in time, perfect. If not, just, we can wait a minute or two.
Shower while on call. Just mute yourself.
We'll never know.
Just mute yourself and we'll never know. Just have a waterproof phone case.
I don't know what the conversation is, but I will know.
I don't want to talk to Caleb while he's in the shower.
He wouldn't be talking, just listening. It's like a shower podcast.
Yeah, it's official. You've made it to 65 episodes, by the way.
Oh, we couldn't go 4 more? Damn.
No.
Oh, what the fuck? We need like a post-epilogue.
With the average of 2 hours per episode.
What's the longest what was the episode count for the other campaigns? Like Rejected Potential and stuff.
Oh, I can let you know here. So
an amateur hour.
The Monsters 5 made it to 59 episodes. Black Hair Company made it to 26. Rejected Potential made it to 72. Still the longest.
Damn.
Halcard Company.
We were going through shit.
Was 4. Grim Legacy was 51, and Amateur Hour was 5. Well, technically it would have been 7 because I didn't have the first 2 streams.
I forgot how short Amateur Hour was. I was thinking like 15 to 20, bro.
Nope, y'all made 5 episodes.
Listen, that was because we had a new player join and immediately went wrong.
Rejected Potential technically is the second longest series on my on that channel, behind Creator's Creation at 73 episodes.
I felt like that campaign aged me 5 years, knowing it was that long and knowing I had to be like the leader for that group. It explains a lot.
Let's see, I think.
Because what's the average episode length?
2 hours. Oh wait, for Reject Potential, 2.5 hours.
2, and then how many episodes was there total?
It's 2.5, and it's 72.
180-ish hours worth of D&D content in there.
Yep.
Excluding any planning and out-of-character, discussion or, stuff to you. Because I know we did that
I'm going to tell you right now, the 2 First Aid campaigns will probably be around 200 to 300 episodes. It's my expectation. Because you gotta think about it like this. As I was talking to Cook about this earlier on how I was planning to do the Monday campaign to make sure they don't get overpowered too quickly. We're gonna be doing a lot of milestone stuff, probably milestone for potentially both campaigns. I haven't decided yet. For the first 20 levels, and then let go for XP after that. just because of the point, at that point, you know, you're gonna have to get so much XP to fill up your fucking bar that it's gonna take a while anyways.
I believe from what we were talking about, it was Monsters was gonna be milestone till 20, but the Sunday was just gonna be straight up XP.
Yeah, and I still haven't fully looked at everything because it comes down to how the balancing needs to work when I start to see characters get it built up and what I can figure out for potential. So, you will find that out. Yes, that is that will be at the very ending though, Wolf. To answer your question, so you may be able, and to note, this is it's like 6 1/4 pages long.
So, unrelated question, DM, why are your dwarves worshipping a bunny god?
So I was playing a game with a buddy of mine this morning, and he was texting me back and forth about, because he was running a Dwarf Fortress game, and he was asking me for advice, and so I was running something on my fucking laptop, and I was like messaging him stuff, and for some reason, my dwarves started, like, they found this rabbit, and they fucking like brought it in. I was keeping it to breed it and sell it as a pet, or sell it to other nations as they came by to get more rare materials. Suddenly I started getting, like, rare fucking, like, when they get in these strange moods, they'll go off and make something, and they kept making these things like bunny statues, or, like, bunny designs on armor and weapon. I'm like, what the, okay, and then suddenly then there's suddenly a thing about a rabbit god, and I'm like, and they wanted their own church. I was like, okay.
Wait, there's a mechanic to just, like, have animals turn into deities? What game is this?
Dwarf Fortress has it's a randomly generated, basically, colony simulation game where you try to manage a colony of, like, up to 150 dwarves. And so because it's basically similar to RimWorld, and it's very randomly generated. In fact, RimWorld was based off of, or came from the concept of Dwarf Fortress, or similar lines to that. The whole thing is that they have in their mechanic to basically random events. You can get random gods. People can show up with different things. They can start venerating animals as they get more and more interested. Weird things happen. And yeah, they picked a fucking god from a list, and suddenly I had some god that was depicted as some giant rabbit that was, forget what the fucking thing was.
So that was just, like, really convenient RNG. You just happened to get a rabbit, and then happened to get a rabbit god.
I had a bunch of, I had so many rabbits running around the base because I was using them as my main trading thing. Them and fucking these, like, giant toads I had found deep underground that did not breed very fast. Oh my god,
toad god.
No, here it is. So the rabbit god, I didn't write down the name, but the rabbit god was the god of medicine and health, or something along those lines, is what I put for my notes. And I was writing it down as an idea for a first stage stupid god, like minor god or something like this, like similar to, what's that one race? I think it's the Locath who can make their own gods from worshipping something. So
you're gonna get a first stage fucking Easter bunny.
It's a potential.
I'm gonna give fair warning.
There's health potions in the
character is just a rabbit.
I will worship your rabbit.
I'm gonna play an Almirage if my character dies.
I'll just be is it rabbit folk? Bunny folk? I think there is just a D&D race that is just like a humanoid rabbit.
Oh, I'm thinking of the Harengan.
Yeah. I'm just a rabbit person worshiping a rabbit.
You're worshipping a Harengan who's good at magic, because he'll be playing a caster as this little fuck. You'll worship an Almirage that just does wizardry.
Or would it be far funnier if I was some giant race like a Loxodon or an orc?
Just worshipping this
a rabbit.
It's like the palm of your hand.
And I get personally offended whenever anyone has like the rabbit's paw luck charm. Like, how dare you steal it?
That's against my religion.
Against my religion. Carrots are a sacred food.
We only eat them on the holy holiday.
Yeah, well, it's like real rabbits. You're not supposed to feed them. You're only supposed to feed them on occasion. So it's a holiday exclusive food.
Yeah.
Carrot farms are like the equivalent of gold mines.
You attack a gold mine, okay, that's one thing. You burned the carrot farm.
That is a act of religious treason.
We will now have a holy war.
I really hate carrots.
Hey,
I have to kill you on the spot.
Out. Hunter, hear me out. An undead army has burned down our
all of the followers of the rabbit god get like a true sight to 10 feet because the carrots give them such good eyesight.
You'll probably get
like some dumb mechanic.
Maya, you'd get a knockoff alert feed for like a danger sense from being fucking worshipping a rabbit.
Unfortunately, that won't help Jaeger too much. He can't see.
Dash is a bonus action because you get like your fight or flight bunny reflexes.
Last time I checked, bunnies don't fight at all. Rabbits, they do. Even hares.
Well, Hunter.
Well, we're assuming wild.
Well, no, Almirage will fight because they have a horn they'll stab people with.
That's true. I assume the religion's based off of a wild hare and not like a domestic bunny.
Well, even wild bunnies are always...
Yeah, wild hares are...
No, hold on. Robert makes a good point with the...
Listen, Bugs Bunny is a completely different being.
Is your rabbit godman gonna canonically cross-dress?
Listen, I feel Toon Force is too powerful.
I could dance to try and just look like Bugs Bunny and so become a more humanoid rabbit.
Yeah, it's up, folks. Yeah. What's up, Doc?
I'm tempted to play an Almirage Barbarian, so I'm this little fucking really buff bunny.
Oh god.
Reminds me of
like a battle axe.
Rabbit.
The halfling monk grandma I played for like one shot session I didn't do anything with. Just this tiny old woman who could suplex people.
You threaten to kill a rabbit, it looks at you, it starts frothing about and growing bigger. Don't grow bigger. Just be the fucking rabbit from Monty and the Holy Grail, or what, like Monty Python and the Holy Grail. Oh, I'm fucking the kill rabbit.
Yeah, you just start frothing at the mouth. Your eyes, if they're not already those freakish white rabbit, like red eyes, they turn red. Bloodshot.
You hear a rumbling while it frosts the mouth. Another rabbit pops out, and then another, and then another, and then 5 more.
You're like a swarm keeper, like ranger, and your swarm's just...
I summon a swarm of the same race I am, and we just charge. It's just a reflavored, like, Swarm of Rat summoning spell. Swarm of Almirage.
You know that? I think there's like a flute that when you play it summons rats, but instead of that, it's a carrot-shaped flute. Bunnies.
No,
and
it's not a...
Your weapon
it's gotta be something similar. It's like a recorder.
Yeah.
A really shitty
recorder flute, as long as it's carrot-shaped.
Well, yeah, my point is, it'd be carrot-shaped and lower quality, so it's just like a little recorder I blow into. It sounds a bunch of other Almirages.
Let me finish up one last thing here.
But I need an army of, like, the biggest, buffest creatures, so when they finally get to me, it's just a little rabbit sitting on a throne.
Yeah. You need to make your guy like a charisma-based caster, so it's purely he's so cute and charming that every scary like mercenary just like decides I have to protect this creature.
A sorcerer with a divine bloodline.
So
yeah,
I'm gonna start this out real quick, mentioning for those who are here, if you are gaming in the background, you're welcome to. There's no ruling against it. Just no talking when I am start doing the epilogues, unless it is specifically towards you. Just as I mentioned, we're not starting it. You guys got a couple minutes still. I'm still fixing something up. I'm not telling you have to mute right now. But yeah, just want to let you know, and I'll give you the okay. Everyone's muted, but me and all right, fuck it. We'll just go then. God damn it! All right. 1 second. Okay, welcome one and all to the epilogue session. This is the final session for Peaceful Future before we will be going on to a bit of a break from the channel for quite a while. Those who watch this, though, will continue to see Peaceful Future videos getting posted up. But until then, or for the time being, going forward, we will be taking about a 3 to 6 month break while the first stage campaign is worked on, and then we will be coming back to hopefully, as we found out, break our record of rejected potentials episode count with the next 3 series that will be coming out with Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. But we'll talk more about that later on a different video. For today, we are here to discuss the grand closure of those known as the Peaceful Future, who truly lived up to their name. They never thought they would, but in the end, it came to be. Alright. Give me a sec. Starting with Lucius. After the grand battle, one that would go down in history as the two Beyond Gods sent forces to fight each other, Lucius would spend his following years hunting down the last remains of Bloodmane himself, only to finally confront him at a graveyard in northern Drafika. While seething with anger and all the hatred of the many years finally boiling over, a calm demeanor would take over Lucius as he sees the man he once considered the center of all his hate, crying over an unmarked grave near a small fort. Without pity, without compassion, and without care, Lucius would cut down Bloodmane in one swing, taking his soul and imprisoning it into a simple pendant, forcing him to watch as Lucius would track down any remaining members of the Bloodmane clan and slaughter them down to nothing, finally avenging and putting his family to rest. Along the way, many Kedla's champions would seek Lucius out, and one by one he would continue to hold them off or escape. His hatred satiated, Lucius would return to the Nordic kingdom of the Crested Kingdom, ran by Emperor Aremzu. Am I pronouncing that right, Cook?
Yeah, it's close enough.
What's the pronunciation?
Honestly, I don't remember anymore. Okay. That's
Aremzu works. All right. Who now, after forcing himself to go through a time magic growth spurt to better rule, looks almost identical to Hawken when Lucius first met him. There he would serve Emperor Aremzu for a full year, ensuring the young emperor knew of his father's great deeds and the many fun adventures they had, and remind the young man that even his father was not perfect, but that's what ended up making him a good emperor in the end. A ruler who would sacrifice all for his people. Of course, leaving out the whole ship explosion and truth behind what happened in the Drownlands. But in his final years, Lucius would find a new wife, and with his luck, would be blessed with a child soon after arriving in the Scrofe lands to assist Sigrun in rebuilding and preparing for the wars to come. For everyone knew the gods would not sit idly by while they made preparations for a new war to end all wars. Though they wouldn't know it, but thanks to 2 of their party members, that war would never come. Lucius, like many other war heroes from the time, would spend the last remaining years of his life in peace and calm, building his clan, reclaiming the Helly Lands from the last few pockets of resistance, and watch as his clan and the Scrofe grew stronger together over the years. In his last moments in the world, Lucius would die at the ripe age of 145 years old, stronger than he had been in his 20s, and surrounded by 12 grown children and 3 more generations at his side. He would recount his story one last time before passing on. He would offer the final words that would see this world through a golden age of peace. Fuck the gods. Thus, Lucius would pass at the grand age of 145, having created the largest Bloodhunter clan in history. Durali. After the beginning of the battle at the Helly capital, a battle that would go down in history as one of the most destructive, Durali would shortly take off, abandoning her friends and allies with the understanding that if she did nothing, this world would end. Seeing Stumpy fly off the ship and start heading at the strange pace towards the east, she had assumed he would go for the same prize she sought. Using her magical capabilities and lordly powers, Durali would find herself at the entrance of the Great Vault of Bardras, where a strange note alongside a large arcane lock that sealed the path downward was found. Noting that poor Durali had to make an arcana check at the end to get through. The following was written on this note. Apologies to whomever finds this place. I have souped it up to be capable of withstanding robbers, vault thieves, and would-be adventurers. I ask this and only this of whomever has traveled so deep within the ocean to seek me out. What is the meaning of history? If you can answer that, Then I give you my body and all of the knowledge I have acquired, and my hatred of Tensub with the hope that you will avenge me. With reading this, Durali would take a moment. After taking the time to think on this answer, Durali would speak out that the vault would open as the sounds of the heavens cracked with thunder. Durali would be one of the first to sense it. Stumpy had done it. He had stopped the war and killed Thief. But how, Durali would wonder as she made her way deeper within the vaults to find the headless body. Speaking to it and uttering the command, the body would react and Durali would begin the ritual as instructed. After hours of preparation, Durali would begin the spellcasting, using every bit of magic she had left in her body. The world would once again hear the crack in paradise as the grand light around enveloped Durali, blinding her. She would feel her body die and in the excruciating pain that she had never felt before, as her body would be torn apart and rebuilt over and over again. Thousands of days would pass in mere seconds to Durali's mind. Though mere moments for the mortals, decades would pass in a blink for Durali, but as she ascended to the title of a Beyond God, a new realm would be created, similar to the design of the Domain of Order. A Domain of Law was created, one designed to keep all gods in check. As the Beyond Gods would come to realize this, a new war would begin just as shortly as... apologies. A new war would begin, but just as shortly end as Zarius, Severta, Litzia would stand by the newly created god, thus forcing those like Tensub and Kedliz to bide their time and stand by the Domain of Law. As the war would come to a stop, Durali would begin to create these new laws, sealing the powers of the Beyond Gods from the mortal plane directly, and begin to make it harder for even mortals to rise up and challenge the gods, thus finally bringing stability to the pantheons as they would slowly grow weaker in the golden age of peace to come. As part of her last mission as a mortal, Durali would spend the next few years watching over her allies and creating new laws, welcoming new gods, watching old ones return to power, and finally the question would be posed as she watched Zarius look down in both sadness and pride as his beloved Sigrun would become the warrior queen the Scroffe people needed in a time of war and peace. Though what was decided between the two gods was never discovered, what is noted is that a strange golden Scroffe would appear amongst the populace, and later was said to properly settle down with Queen Sigrun, the Godslayer of House Bjorn Neklo. Though if that was Durali's influence or not, none would know for sure. Only that the golden god of greed's church would grow stronger within the years to come and finally end up rebuilding the global banking system of the Bank of Silencia, with a strange old cat sorcerer as its acting president. With many strange and powerful adventurers constantly seeking them out for audience, some believe this was Durali's plan all along. Some believe the new president is nothing more than a retired adventurer that looked like the Beyond God herself. The truth, even in the modern age, the question was never answered. Durali, along with the other Beyond Gods, would slowly fade into almost unexistence as a mythological time period of heroes and villains of great power. Like the other Beyond Gods, in the year 1914, they are nothing but a footnote in what we tell the children to make them go to bed and be just as they go out into their lives. If Durali existed, we will never know. Key. During the clash between Kedliz and Thief's followers, Key stood in amazement watching as her heroes joined on the battlefield one by one. Almost awestruck, she would watch the great calamity unfold. Though as she found herself being grabbed and taken off to find her husband by Daka, she almost seemed surprised. He truly was as smart as she had heard, a respected magic user. He would help Key find her husband deep within the capital dungeons, being held prisoner and on the brink of death. While Daka would vanish back out onto the battlefield, Key would do all she could to keep Lad alive. But the wounds too deep, and the magic not seeming to remove them, Key would begin to panic, and with every spell she had, she would continue to try to keep Lad alive for even another moment. But as the eyes began to close and his body began to grow limp, he would smile one last time and begin to sing a small prayer to Benaramon. He would smile up to Key as his eyes faded and his body would go limp. For a moment, Key would be angry, devastated. She would turn and run out into the battlefield to find anyone who may be able to help. As she watched the armies clash, hatred would fill her heart. For even after all the death and hatred and everything else, these people would not stop fighting. Had they not done enough in this world, with this in mind, he would find Dakapip, with his glasses on, making a ritual circle at the top of the tallest tower in the capital. Assisting with the spell, she would tweak it slightly to make it far more devastating after seeing that Dakapip planned to take them alive and disable all of them. As the spell would go off, Ki would look on with slight delight as she watched as the beyond God's protection fade, the cracking of divine magic above them, and watch as the Heli magic would be removed from the race as she had hoped. However, as Dakapip cast the spell, the realization of what she had done came to fruition as the spell began blowing up the Heli from the inside, as their magic failed to protect them from the intense spells. It didn't stop there, as she saw the other side begin to feel the effect as well. The final explosion and dust clearing would see the world quiet once more. Both armies vanished in a blink of the eye, but Ki saw it all, the horror, the fear, the hatred, the sadness, everything. As Ki would return to the group and hope to find all of them amongst the living, Ki would see Lad standing outside the castle watching, his eyes wide and fear in them as he looked on at Ki and her allies. As Lad would turn and run, Ki understood the truth of this all and what had happened here. Reserving herself, she would see the group off on their own quests as she returned to the Tower of the 12 Lords, spending her time deep in research on her powers and contemplation of what she did. She would watch over Lad as he returned home and make sure that his family was well taken care of. Though she would never meet or speak with him again, Ki would take solace in watching him grow older and as his family lived in peace. In her final years, Ki would heed the call of the Forgotten Song, though spending her last few months with her brother Ek. Am I pronouncing that right, Ki? I think you put the pronunciation in, but I don't remember, and you can let me know. And Sister Lee, now much older and grayer, Ki would be seen walking through a portal to Moors to join the Monsters with the Monsters 5. Though many years later, Lad's family would receive an anonymous gift of millions of gold, it is unknown if this was done by Ki herself or another. In truth, like the Monsters 5, Ki would never be seen or heard from again after entering into Moors. Her family would go on to venerate her, and her name would be passed on to her race as a title of hero and love. And Ki, in truth, would finally get her bathwater that she always desired. Or so the story goes. Vormorn. As the battle would come to an end, and seeing what were the beyond gods and what everyone had truly done, Vormorn would wrestle with his conscience for the destruction caused and so many lives lost. Seeing this Daka figure at the top of the tower, he would see the millions of bodies at his feet and the undisputed, unjust being that he was. He would turn to make chase on the being, but just as fast as he did, he would watch the creature teleport away, leaving Ki alone at the top of the tower, and seeing Ki turn to look at another for a race who seemed to look on to her with fear and distrust he understood. Vormorn would offer to travel with Ki to the 12 Lords Tower afterwards, only to ensure her journey was safe and find out more about this Daka figure. After disbanding the party for good, Vormorn would find himself with another expedition to the Underdark. Though this new expedition had seemed strong and hopeful, Vormorn would once again find himself traveling with Tycharis and Bacon, as the rest of the expedition would die off one by one. Many years in isolation would cause Vormorn to avoid dealing with most of the mortals, as he found himself freeing slaves from the Thrycrane hives, hunting down would-be criminals who thought it safe in the Underdark. Finally learning the truth of the House of Oziel, it is believed that Vormorn would return to the surface, choosing a successor of his house to pass his name down to. A young child that he had found amongst the Underdark, a half-Heli, half-Voli child who knew nothing of the surface world, naming him Eusitia, or Justice in Heli. Eusitia would be left with Sigrun to serve and learn amongst the Scrofei, while Vormorn would spend his days hunting both the Underdark and the Overworld for the most wanted and vile criminals alive, still searching for where Daka went off to. As the world had become more peaceful, more criminals would be found, and larger organizations trying to take advantage would pop up, eventually earning Vormorn the nickname the Angel of Revenge. Vormorn would finally find his end as he returned to the Scrofei lands, a new nation now fully under Sigrun's control. Here it is believed that a child would take vengeance on Vormorn for killing her relatives, and while criminals, Vormorn accepted his fate, knowing it was time for a new angel to arrive. He would gift his powers, title, and all his belongings to the girl after he made her swear that if she killed him, she had to take up his mantle. As the mantle was passed, it is said that Vormorn would rapidly decline in health as the girl watched him die slowly. Vormorn would pass away a few years after Lucius, as the morning after his death would come. The girl would return to Vormorn's bedside one last time, only to find him, Ticarius, and Bacon gone. Some say that Vormorn had grown tired of fighting in the mortal plane and tired of fighting death, and believed it was his time to turn to moors to seek out new criminals. Some say that Vormorn convinced Slogothus to give him immortality and to allow him to continue his just crusade in any capacity that he could. Some say that Vormorn just got up and walked away after giving up his title of the 12 Lords to live a peaceful life. But I believe that, in truth, Vormorn died satisfied, having wished for nothing more than to rid the world of evil. A just man, the world would not see his like again. Sigrun. In the hours after the battle, Sigrun would find herself in the worst spot of the adventuring group known as the Peaceful Future. Sigrun would find herself surrounded by helly commoners, slaves of hundreds of different races, and all of them looking to her for leadership. As the battlefield would come to a close, those who had been chained or ran from the fight would be spared. Noble Heli, the few that were left, would find themselves hunted by Sigrun and her newfound following throughout the many cities. But as this chapter would come to a close, Sigrun would find herself seeing her friends off to their own adventures, and a new nation wanting to crown her as their ruler. Sigrun would find out that she was more cut out for politics than she realized. As it turns out, if you're big and strong, most people seem to listen to you, or at least that was the case at the time. However, as she found herself in charge of Reconstruction and helping create a ruling council, the people would seem to choose to follow her. In the year to follow, 38 AS, as the Scrofe and mixed people who had followed recognized the entire continent as their lands now, Sigrun, Godslayer, Chainbreaker, Greed-Blessed, Warrior Queen, and many more nicknames that people would give her, was crowned as the second emperor of the world. Emperor Sigrun Bjorn-Neklo would rule for 5 years before finally giving up her crown to a newly established council, and would take the honorific title of Defender of the Free, becoming a champion but allowing those better qualified to rule in her place. It is believed that in the following year, Sigrun would end up married to a strange golden Scrofe with the strangest name of King Czar, as he would be later become known to the world. He would establish a massive banking system that now is set up into the Freedlands. Many believe that King Czar, though no king in truth, was related to the Zarius clan, and that the rumored husband of Sigrun. But few dared to bring up the subject for the ire they feared they would raise. Sigrun would also find herself searching for her old friend the Pebble, even going so far as to spend a period of her life after ruling, adventuring to find the man, though to no success. The Pebble, alongside many other adventures, would vanish from the world, it seemed. Rumors abound that many sought their fortunes deep within Noventium, but few dared to follow to confirm the rumors. It is said that the Bjorn-Neklo clan would grow to almost 35 in the second generation. As the clan would grow stronger, many of them would take after their mother and founder, causing a new order of zealots to the Beyond God of Greed to be created. The clan would, in the ages to come, under the leadership of Sigrun II Bjorn-Neklo, the eldest child of Sigrun the Godslayer of Bjorn-Neklo and King Czar, would turn into a full holy order of berserking knights. Though that is another story for another time. In the years to come, though, the Forgotten Song would come calling, and alongside many of her fellow adventurers, Sigrun, now grey and aging, with her husband and 4 of her children, would join the Unholy Crusade. The war was said to be glorious, with hundreds of battles and millions of enemies slain. But what was Sigrun Bjorn-Neklo's fate, you ask? Well, in truth, we do not know, as with the Monstrous Five and all the others who would join in this march. They would never be seen or heard from again in history. Some believe that Sigrun, alongside the survivors of this great army, would be wished to the past, while some say they were allowed to pass on as a final gift from Durali. Some believe that Sigrun Bjorn-Neklo never died and still walks the world even in the modern day. In the end, does their story need an ending? Or is it better to look on at them as the heroes they were, immortalized even now in the year 1914 AS? While many scholars to this day still wonder if this group of adventurers actually survived, I can tell you for a fact that their existence was never what mattered. It's the deeds they accomplished and the stories they left behind, for they would inspire generations after to great deeds, and in truth it has been a pleasure writing their story. The one story that was lost, that was never brought up, was the truth of what happened to Dokapip. While the battle would end, many believed that Dokapip would join the Monsters 5. However, the truth was far more concerning. As many would report in the distant oceans, a strange area where a great arcane energy could be seen shooting off wildly. Many ships would vanish, many adventurers would disappear in these waters, alongside monsters beyond count seemingly drawn to the area for great loot. This would be the last place even Frodigian's army would be seen before vanishing from history. What happened to Dokapip we shall never honestly know, only that wherever he ended up, we know he is biding his time once more to try and take another stab at the gods. And as I close this book, and I look on at all of you, I thank you all for all the great adventures we've had, for I could not have gotten this far in this book. Signed, Duramar, the last scholar of Clan Centauri. We thank you all for those who have joined us for this epilogue. At this point now, the players are welcome to come off mute and just hang out and vibe if they want and say any comments. And, any questions now you have that you've been waiting to ask that has been pending this entire campaign are all welcome. But
after all the god hatred, I finally collared all of them.
Yes, finally. It only took like 2 campaigns worth of us fighting gods.
2 of you. Many more of other campaigns.
Well, I was gonna say, prior campaigns, but for me personally, Rejected Potential and then Peaceful Future were basically focused around God Wars for a large majority.
So was Time Fuckers. I can't even post the fucking document, so I'm just gonna link to it. And share it for you guys, because legitimately one chapter or one thing of Epilogue is like 3 paragraphs and won't go on Discord. So give me a second here.
Yeah, there's a character limit. I'm very glad I got my
like an eternal record keeper of history.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's great. I love. I got my army of zealots as well. I was really hoping just. If nothing else, I would just have a fuck ton of zealots pass on out of nowhere.
No, which also makes me wonder if that one, because that dimension or plane with the library, I believe the ruler of that plane is also a dragon, right?
Yeah, one of the Sigma dragons.
Yeah, I wonder if them and Durham are good friends, or if they're of the same clan.
And now that since Raleigh did take the position with what's caused to the 12 lords, you are fully welcome to read all the way to the bottom with the other stuff that's on there. But yeah, you guys can all see it. You can also see what what the players typed if you want to look on that doc. As if you scroll past the main epilogue, there's a section that I've made very easily seen or seeable that highlights exactly what y'all wrote. But yeah, so. Any questions from the entire campaign that you've been dying to ask about?
What happened to Cuddles the bear?
Empty right now.
So if I remember right, you guys lost Cuddles right after the ship got destroyed by the Kraken, and Kedla's
No, Cuddles got out with Terra.
I had carried Cuddles out.
Yep. And if I remember right, it was after that you lost them. So Cuddles' final fate ended up that she went back to the Drowland, and yes, so Cuddles was the Drow princess that you had met previously. And she had, so basically Ogum had decided instead to curse her into a bear before invading to get their main leader out of the way, because his assumption was their entire power structure was through her. So that's where Cuddles comes from. The one you met in campaign wasn't the actual princess. That was a fully fucking illusion character that I'm surprised no one actually got a perception score high enough to get, but...
None of us were playing perception characters at that point.
That's true.
No, my perception was shit early on because my wisdom's not
Cuddles
great.
is now a slave in the Droughtlands, being held there, basically, indefinitely.
Nice.
As a slave bear, yep. Never able to turn back.
What, a similar fate to Boris.
Nope. Forever stuck.
My question. So, what was the secret, or like, what was the secret of House Uziel?
Oh, so the whole. Let me pull that up. Let's see if I've still got my campaign notes for that.
Because I know I had to find the bear of my house in the Underdark, and there was stuff to do with that, but I don't know what would come of it.
I love how everyone semi-tied their backstory into the Scrofey, like, empire. I did not expect that, I'll be honest. I expected everyone to fuck off.
I feel like a lot of that was totally DM's doing, because, I mean, I didn't write anything to do. Kind of everyone being connected to Sigrun's growth of the Empire.
That was based on my own thing.
Okay, that makes sense.
So I'm just posting these.
I found it cool, but I was like, damn, that was unexpected.
So Go ahead.
My only thing really to Sigrun was I tried to talk Zarius into not being a god anymore so he could be with Sigrun.
Literally, that was part of my backstory. Sigrun was going to go seek Zarius out, like, on her crusade of, like, killing the like, Beyond Gods, to be like, hey, please become mortal and live with me. I will fight any wars you want. I will give you every spoil.
First thing I did
stop it.
Was talk to Zarius to try and get him to go become a
Yeah, I appreciate you. You got me my good romance ending that I was hoping for. I was half expecting Royce to be like, Sigrun had to slay Zarius in her quest to kill the gods.
Yeah, my original, I wanted him to become a god under me so he could become a chief god and be allowed to go down into the mortal plane.
To answer your question, so the House of Uziel had that bear, that was the only creature that had survived since the original Heli houses when they were still part with the Voli and knew the history of it. So the House of Uziel was the only house that actually had the secret had access to the secret to how to bring the true empire back to its foundation power, which was to combine back with the Voli and to basically gain your full powers.
Gotcha.
So
that's cool.
Yup, you went on a mystic quest to go talk to a very ancient bear, kind of like Dr. Bear, but older. And there, what I posted in our chat group there, that's the notes from the first session that I wrote for our campaign, for those who were part of the group at that time, which was Shogun, Sigrun, Sarah, fucking Terias, and Nick.
I gotta know, what is Nick's fate?
Nick would, Daka Pip would eventually end up catching him and basically forcing him to serve him for the rest of his natural existence.
Yes!
For killing his second-born son.
Fuck him up.
Oh, wait. Slightly my fault that you never found Pebble. I had him sent into Aventium along with Shogun.
Yeah, I caught that in there. The plan was she would, like, basically have him in as her co-leader, second command of, like, the Scrofey armies, but you just fucked off.
This does mean Maya, however, in First Age, because he's in Aventium, he can be found. So First Age can find Pebble in Aventium.
Which is honestly great. I do love that that's an option. I'm a little sad for Sigrun losing her buddy, but I'm sure she understands.
Pebble's pumping iron on the 33rd floor of Aventium.
Pumping iron, oh my god.
See, I had Sigrun always set up to basically go similar down the Lordship route from the very beginning. I had a plan to throw you in because with how you were set up as a character.
I'll be right back.
You're good.
I did not expect it. I love that I make a character with, like, the implications of being a royal who fails miserably and her empire falls apart and crumbles at the hands of her and her cousin. And then I just make the dumbest, stupid, like, soldier barbarian, and she leads, like, the most successful. You gave her, like, 5 fucking titles, bro. She's
everyone else got titles like that as well. I just didn't want to go and sit there for the next hour trying to come up with stuff off the top of my head.
I just find it funny that she was so much more wildly successful, and her whole thing was basically, I hit things good.
Yeah.
And people find me attractive.
Yeah, no, it's it came out as a good setup for the character. Sometimes it happens, you know.
No, it's great. I finessed my way into leading an empire and having, like, Zarius serve along me which I didn't expect. Like, I went from being his concubine to him being my bitch.
Yeah.
Which is great. I love that for
And
her.
now the question is, was King Zar, the Golden Scrofe, actually fucking Zarius or not?
Doesn't matter. She still had a rich husband. She still had how many kids? First generation?
35, I believe, is what was written.
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah. You can bet every single pregnancy she was like fighting till the 3rd trimester. Like she was out there on the war field.
Barry had a plan in the background. He was looking into trying to become a Beyond God as soon as he learned that was a thing. So he was planning to use Stone for that.
I am so happy I made that not possible.
He was going to use you to go find out the truth about the 12 Lords and find out where the last information about the Beyond God was and try and become one by using whatever info you got. Yeah, that was my plan.
Damn it, Barry.
But he didn't.
I will not let Barry ascend. He will never have my purpose.
What happened to Terius?
Terius. If I remember, didn't you die in campaign or did you leave? I can't remember.
Wolf left. Wolf just had to leave the campaign.
Oh, that's right. Because you stepped away because I think you were getting busy with work or something like that. I don't remember what was going on. But as far as it goes, if I remember, I think I had you spend out your days in Dragon's Gate working as running the engineering core. No, because you had the fucking you had the two thing.
Engineering for Zopic's kids while they were alive, but after that, after
you had the
shit went down and he had no boss anymore.
Yeah.
He fucking dipped somewhere, and
I remember what I had you do. You were looking into I had Terias go on a fucking genocide in the background to go kill the Dragonkin for slaughtering his family. That's what his adopted family. He was fucking pissed, like when he was taking his time. So once he found out that the Dragonkin were the cause to it, he went and chased them down and fucking wiped their nation out.
Damn.
Yeah, so that was his whole like thing in the end. I didn't have him do much else because I didn't think that would become plot relevant because no one was going towards the Dragonkin lands. So, but I remember that was the big thing because I was gonna have you either do that and then originally I was gonna have you jump to the multiverses and go explore that just for something in the background to have going on, but because they all merged, it was like okay.
He'd probably be jumping around worlds, creating fucking machines of war until he matured enough to make machines of peace.
Yep, the great golden age of peace that would come in for the next 1,000 of years. So
starts making like farming equipment and shit.
Rebuild basically after
planes to like crop dust instead of planes to bomb.
Physics.
Stone would have been a very unique character, but yeah, that would have been really bad. I had a full fuck plot for you to run into with that I was wondering if you were gonna try, because I had a real challenge for you at the end there if you were gonna run with the new character. Because I don't like it usually very often when players try to switch out characters at the end of a campaign. That's one of the few things that I try to not let my players do because it's so late. But
I came towards it. If Pebble hadn't left and Stone showed up, we would have been mostly just a party of big buff people.
Yeah. Lucius the big buff bear, Sigrun the big buff boar, and then two big buff
I'm talking about like big buff shirtless people, because it would have been the giant Sigrun, the giant Pebble compared to his size. He was like 7 feet tall, big buff guy, and Stone, who was even taller. It was like an Amazon.
Uh-huh.
So it'd just be a bunch of big buff, basically shirtless people walking around.
Yeah, I wanted to make it known in Sigrun's army of zealots, it is part of their ideology to not wear armor and to go shirtless into battle. That is the Scrofe law. Yeah. Because part of the lore, they have tough skin too. If they're exactly like Sigrun, then they'll all have their cool glowing, like, zealot tattoo things that manifest, and you want that on display.
Even if they wanted armor, they could always go the Pebble route. His armor was literally, as a proof of damn, just a set of magical tattoos he wore.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. And so you wouldn't want a shirt for that anyway.
He was just tattooed to the gills.
It's just too iconic at this point. The idea of Sigrun being this empire and refusing to wear any type of shirt is great.
Also, to note that I've already grabbed all your guys' character sheets, so you're good.
Cool. Yep. I was just about to ask. Yep. I might download it myself and then...
Feel free. It's also on the drive if you ever need to grab it. So, I double-checked. Don't worry, Robert. I double-checked that I had everyone.
Let me say, I'm very glad... Daka Pip manifested, because if not, my axe would have made me attempt to go into a rage and murder Zarius, which would have been a very sad ending. So I'm glad you popped out and just did your own thing. We had an agreement. It worked out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was very good. Also, like Vormorn also had because of what was in mind, and it even said you have a strange hatred now towards the wielder of your axe. I was like, man, that could become very bad.
Yeah. Some of you, well, yeah, I was gonna say Stumpy. If he had kept up with what without going after a thief like that, fucking, he was gonna end up going. Him and Daka would end up killing the rest of the 12 lords. That would have been a fight immediately between that. Just because of the fact that both Daka and fucking Stumpy had gods that they were technically serving, while being 12 lords. So that would have ended up in a real issue. That's. I was kind of relieved when Stumpy decided to go after Thief instead. I was like, all right, this works a little bit better for me.
Shit! Me and Daka should have done a couple gods at once.
We could have. We really could have.
Nope. Yeah,
well,
no.
we were fucking linked like Zelman Mells. We could have figured something out.
Oh yeah, but the issue came down to the fact that also Daka went into the past, so where Zilpip stayed in the fucking center, but Stumpy also stayed in the modern time. He's not gonna be popping up in the past campaign. Since he didn't have any reason to join the Forgotten Song in that war, since he wasn't there to find out about all that, sadly.
So does that mean... Wait, so the people who joined the Forgotten Song and against Lagos and stuff,
that they may be in the first stage.
It's Sigrun, just fucking old Sigrun, third grade matriarch of an empire, still kicking, still wielding a 500-pound axe, is just out there.
If old Sigrun goes to Aventium, they may meet young Pebble.
Bro, could you imagine that? Because Scruffy only lived to around 100, I believe. So she's gonna be up there, and you're just gonna be chilling. And
it's been so long.
Yeah, her immediate reaction will still be to arm wrestle you, even though she's 80.
I got an interesting question I just thought about.
What's up?
So since Lucius had made that deal with the Forgotten Song, but died before the call was made.
Yep.
Did his soul?
No, his family would go on to honor it.
Oh, okay.
So one of his family members, whoever took up his mantle, which would actually be the little girl that fucking watched him die and took on. Oh no, sorry, that's for Vormor. No, in your situation, yeah, it would have been one of your family members that would have just gone on to take on the title because of your blood, because you're a blood hunter. So blood is everything. So yeah, in the case of Lucius, he wouldn't see the Forgotten Song and hear the call. He would just go to fight.
So does that mean the little girl that took up Vormorn's mantle is gonna be maybe in the first stage?
No, it could be her or Vormorn. No, but Vormorn did join. So there's, I put in the explanation, there's a chance that people don't know where he went. He just disappeared. Some believe that he joined the Forgotten Song.
Yeah, because remember that there was a chance that maybe Vormorn, upon his death, decided to go Doomslayer in hell.
Mm-hmm. That which is an epic ending. But for the little girl who took over Vormorn's thing, was she a Heli refugee or was she a Scrofe? I'm very curious about.
Yeah, I'm curious on who is the young girl who came to take my life.
Because, you implied there was a lot of different races, namely, the Heli commoners who took place, in the Empire, not just Scrofe, so...
Okay, sorry, I was reading Caleb's question. What was your question again, Maya?
What race was the little girl who took Vormorn's mantle, and, can you tell us more about her? Yeah.
Let's see. Well, I never specified as far as it goes. I didn't have anything in mind off the top of my head at the time. He had...
Because she was getting revenge on me for something.
Yeah, so basically Vormorn had adopted a daughter who basically took on his house name, would take on the lead House Uziel, which is the child who is half Oli, half Heli, known as Justitia. The little girl is just... was a random write-down for any criminal. I didn't specify because I didn't think it needed to be used.
Book, do you want a boar child to be your successor?
It's just someone that you killed their parents because their parents were criminal as Vormorn, and they came to get vengeance.
No,
damn, so it could have been a lot of people.
We can leave it how it is.
Yeah.
Because I mean, she was trained with you, so she would have, I assume, some kind of Scroffe ideal. As you know, not only because I left her to be trained with you.
Yeah, there's two girls.
Yeah.
There's two people in Vormorn's backstory.
I was gonna say if you're in the Scroffe Empire, which is what, the whole continent, you're trained in the Scroffe ways.
Yeah, so there's so here it is. Yeah, so Vormorn has a son that he adopts, and then that he sends off to serve with Sigrun. So that one, Yutzia would be the one that would know would be very Scroffe-like. And then the child who would take on his mantle is a little girl that had nothing to do with him.
I'm Scroffeifying everyone's successors. I love that. I imagine some traditions change, but I imagine Sigrun would very strongly hold on to her people's culture, considering they were almost eradicated. So I assume there's a lot of pride regarding that. But again, the Scroffe were never against other races, as you could tell by the pebbles. So it's just the Empire now. It's just a fuck ton of people.
Yep.
Being Vikings, kicking ass.
Yep. Yeah, it's true. What was your
all
question,
the Tiefling Empire could have been?
What was the other question that popped up? Sorry, I thought I heard another one. Maybe I was mistaken. Okay.
I mean, I have a question.
What's up?
And this may be the most important.
Okay.
Like, leaving the kind of epilogue question, I need to know what the fuck happened to the Lich border patrol guy.
I knew.
Dragon's Gate.
Oh, you mean the guy who was sealed away under Dragon's Gate and no one ever released? He's still fucking.
What happened?
He's still fucking sealed under there. He hasn't left.
Is he just gonna be there forever?
Yes, he can't die. He became a lich before Log gained his power, and he's fucking more powerful because he's just fucking sitting there learning, training magic. He can't move or leave that little room though. He's buried under a thing of rubble, when no one lives anymore, because Dragon's Gate got demolished by got flattened by Zarius. Yeah, so the dungeon, you know how he was trapped in the dungeon beneath, where you guys had gone in Dragon's Gate as Zilpip and with Aeron to go fight that Elven Lich that was underneath the city with all the golems? He's still down in that first floor of that dungeon where all the undead were walking around, and the gnolls and the humans were hiding out. He's still trapped down there. He's been down there for now fucking 5-10 years.
Fucking crazy, dude.
Yeah, he's insane. The first person who finds him is going to be in a lot of trouble, because he's going to be an insane lich that's going to be a lot more powerful with nothing else to do.
Yeah, I'm waiting for the day to oh my god, this is the place where Dragon's Gate was. We gotta excavate this.
We gotta excavate this, find as much loot as we can.
Yep.
And then holy fuck,
magic shit here.
Yep, they're just gonna find this really powerful lich that's just nuts.
Lich.
They need an Indiana Jones level
10
kind of guy to get out of that one.
Man's
the
gonna
only
be fucking...
word he can still speak is Zilpip.
Yep.
This is his berserk story, and instead of Griffith, it's Zilpip.
Yeah. He might be the end of the world, but all the way up to 1914, he was never discovered. So, for what the timeline was, because that's when Timefucker starts. Is the year 1914 in June.
I heard you say that. I was like, holy shit, dude.
Yep.
That's crazy.
Also shows how old Durmar is by the end of with the book writing.
Yeah, Durmar's
a boomer.
He's over 4,000 years old now.
Hey, are we entering this village?
Oh, they're talking about their game.
I was talking to them.
Yeah, I'm talking to them. I was about to ask, are we gonna fight and kill him?
Well, so, does anybody else have any other questions out of curiosity?
Because we can peacefully enter the compound.
The fort.
What?
None that I can think of.
Everyone in the
Does Tara just spend her days sitting in heaven because she can never fall?
Yeah.
Just forever?
Same with Goji, who will eventually become a proper god.
How does Goji's godhood go?
Like I said, it'll be something, a story that's never told or written down at this point into the future. But eventually, along with like I mentioned about the Beyond Gods, all gods eventually will fall into obscurity due to the fact of peace, and that the Age of War would end, so that people stopped worshipping as time would go on, and Durali's rules had been created.
My rule was to stop everything. I stopped everything. I got what I wanted.
Hey, you kept the gods from interfering, so now the people don't,
Also, I think First Age will be a lot more interesting with the gods being far less mobile.
In the initiative for a hot second, okay?
But yeah. Any other questions we got?
If I think of anything, I'll PM you, but I am very head empty right now.
I'll say, no worries as far as it goes. Goshi.
Yeah, that's why I said hold up, because my characters have been going around assassinating these fools.
Alright, well, I think I'm going to wrap up the session here then, if no one has any other questions or any other things they wanted to bring up. So people get back to their days. Alright. What's up?
Huh?
Does Sigrun...
I was just going to say, I think I'm good.
Yeah, Maya?
Does Sigrun secretly develop a cult of admirers who are attracted to her?
No, it just turns out to be that one dwarf who failed that charisma roll that one time when he rolled a nat 1. By the way, for reference, for that, the reason why Zarius fell for Sigrun, in the end, was because of the fact of I rolled a nat 1 on a charisma check against you when I was trying to trick you on something. And,
I think... I remember that. Like, wait, so that roll from way back when is what carried through the entire campaign.
Yep. And...
that one's so hard.
For your question about Carl would go on to spend his time as a Dwarf Lord, researching magic and studying up on humans, the few human cultures that were left.
Adrian never gets his revenge.
No. Carl loves Sigrun because he was held like a baguette's fair. But alright, as we are good here.
You can start a Sigrun love club, love cult. Carl can start it.
As we,
you know, in like anime where they have like a fucking little locker shrine of their senpai or whatever the fuck. It's just that for Sigrun.
No. But as we come to a close here, since I'm not seeing any other questions popping up, I want to take a second to not only thank the players, but thank all the views, thank the people who've been with the group, who've left the group. We've come pretty far. This has been 5 years of D&D all the way up to this campaign to call it an ending on the book. So I can't help but truly thank you guys and appreciate all the hard work and all the time you guys have shown up and joined into session. So this book wouldn't be nearly as good without the players that made it, and the experiences that they've created, and the weirdness I've had to DM. So truly, thank you to the players and all of what you guys have done. I wouldn't be here with this campaign or the rest of the book without you guys. So as we come to an end of the last age, the Age of Monsters, where the book will be ending, I want to thank those who watch this in the future, if this book ever gets popular, for enjoying the series. And lastly, we hope that you guys will rejoin us for the First Stage campaign. We will be doing some minor one-shots. We have a couple coming up, like the one at the end of October, and we'll probably be doing a couple others as time goes on, so feel free to come check it out. But the First Stage campaign is currently set to start in the new year, around January, so that the players can take some time and get their stuff together, get used to 30.5, and we can hopefully have everyone ready to go. So, look forward to that. There'll be 3 campaigns, potentially 4, and we'll see where things go. So, thank you all. Yes?
No, continue your outro.
Okay, so thank you all, and we hope to see you in the next age. Any last comments from the party?
Fuck the gods!
Fuck the gods!
Fuck the gods!
Thank you.